whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Good morning, although it's not a very good morning here on the Nikki Medoro Show as I woke up this morning to the news coming from Maui and Lahaina. SJ Lola, you're the one that got me the email that that brought it to my attention. If you haven't heard, Lahaina, the town of Lahaina, is burning down a major portion of it. Kim McAllister is here. Unfortunately, I'm the one that broke the news to her, so she's kind of gathering herself right now because, as everybody that follows the show knows, Kim has a lot of connections to Maui. She was born in Hawaii, and so when Kim is ready, she will be joining us. We will be talking about that. We're going to start the show with that. I think all of us need to remember that obviously Hawaii is part of the United States, but this is just an area that is treasured by so many people. And the fact that, I was just there, so many people go there every single year, and it's so devastating what's happening. We will, of course, touch on issue 1 in Ohio. I also want to talk on that topic out of Massachusetts with the Catholic couple that was denied fostering. But I really want to start with what is happening in Lahaina. I think the first thing we should do, of course, Hawaii News Now is where a lot of people are getting their information from. It's where I've been watching all morning long. I've had it. I want to share my screen with you right now, just with the latest update right now. So again, here we go.
Station, we're hearing that multiple poles are down all across Lahaina, and that is why all roads are closed in Lahaina, and that is why police don't want anyone going into Lahaina, and that's why they have the entire west side of the island shut down here in Ma'alaya, and then on the other side as well in Waihe'e near Kahakuloa side, that back side. So they're not letting anyone through the west side of the island. They're only allowing people to leave. Now, I also want to talk about the airport. I did speak with the airport manager this morning, and he tells me that the airport was kind of a safe haven for travelers last night and this morning as well. Thousands of people stayed there because of flight delays, flight cancellations, people maybe trying to get out earlier, trying to get to Honolulu sooner than expected and originally scheduled. So he's asking if you are a visitor, if you're trying to get to Honolulu or out of Maui quicker than you originally had planned for, to call Hawaiian Airlines or Southwest Airlines as well, and then maybe they can get you on a flight. He said that he does believe that Hawaiian and Southwest do have seats open, so call them before heading to the airport as well, but possibly can get out quicker if you are a traveler. But as you can see, Steve, Grace, the wind sure is whipping again. Firefighters battling two separate fires. The one up country broke out just after midnight yesterday. So it's been over 24 hours that firefighters battling that blaze on Olinda Road, which is between Kula and Makawao in the upcountry area. And then this one on the west side in Kula breaking out around 6:30. So almost 24 hours, boots on the ground, firefighters just battling this raging fire, trying to get it under control. But that's the latest here. Not looking too good right now. Steve, Grace, back to you.
Chelsea, I know you have so many friends and family who are being impacted by that fire, particularly in Lahaina. What are you hearing from them? Because in the pictures that you just shared with us, it looks like complete devastation for them.
Yes, absolutely. And I, like so many other people on Maui, have been trying to get a hold of loved ones out on the west side. And a lot of people, excuse me, for getting emotional, not answering. And so I know a lot of people are trying to do that as well, which is fearful for their loved ones. Are they okay? we're not really getting a lot of information, so we don't know. We're told cell service is spotty. Phones are going straight to voicemail. So communication is exceptionally poor. So what I have been seeing circling around social media is that people are saying if you're on the west side and if you are safe, but because you can't dial out or call or text loved ones to let them know to change your voicemail, to put your name, the date, the time, location, and say that you're safe. So when loved ones try to call you and it goes straight to voicemail, at least they know that they're safe. So a huge challenge, because a lot of us can't get in touch with our loved ones out there, so we don't know if they're safe or not.
Yeah, and Chelsea, I think that's one thing. We talk about the businesses all the time and the impact, but also we should talk about the families and the people that are still trying to reach out. How about this? You grew up on Maui, and as Grace had mentioned, you know so many people. How about just seeing what happened to Lahaina last night? What were your thoughts when you saw those images?
Speechless, to be honest with you. I did actually speak with someone who I don't know personally, but I know someone who put me in touch with a captain of a boat out there, and she called me from the middle of the ocean. She owns a business. She transports goods to Lanai, and she said that Lahaina was not safe at all. So they went out to the ocean. They were in the middle of the ocean, and so she was able to call me there, and she was trapped out there, but she said she believes that it was the safest place to be, and she described what it looked like from the water, and she said it was just nothing that anyone has experienced ever before. She said it is an absolute war zone, unrecognizable. Places have burnt down. We've seen the videos, homes, businesses. She says it's lost for words, honestly. And just my heart goes out to all the residents, all the business owners out there. It's such an iconic town. West Side people have so much pride. They're so resilient, and but definitely we're keeping them in our thoughts this morning and always throughout the day.
Chelsea, from the accounts that you've heard, whether it was online or social media or people that you know who were trying to get out of Lahaina, can you describe what they were experiencing? Because the video looks harrowing.
Yeah, absolutely. That video, Grace, it's hard to watch, to be honest with you. You can just see and feel the fear in those people's voices as they're trying to escape and run for their lives. And then we've also heard that people were literally running to the ocean and jumping into the water for safety, to escape the flames, to escape the smoke. And that captain that I talked about, she said that she was plucking people out of the water onto their boat as a safe haven. And then the Coast Guard was activated as well here in Ma'alaya to go out to the west side to help find survivors out in the ocean and pull them onto their boats and bring them to safety. So a lot of people are definitely scared. I'm sure on the west side, and people here on the other side are anxious, and a lot of us are still waiting to hear from loved ones to see if they're okay.
So, I mean, that is the latest again from Hawaii News Now, and it's devastating. I've been, ever since I woke up this morning, and SJ Lola, again, I mean, thank you for bringing it to my attention, but it was literally one of the worst things to wake up to. Someone in the comments, was talking about the empathy that we have here in California. As we know what this feels like. But I mean, when you're talking about a place like Lahaina, when you're also talking about Maui, a place that is, it's an island, right? I mean, and like that reporter with Hawaii News Now was talking about, these people are resilient. These people have so much pride for that area. There's so much history there. It is just absolutely devastating. Now, I'm so sorry, Kim. And I know, sadly, literally a minute before I went live, I told Kim. So Kim, if you need more time, I totally understand. Because you do have such a connection to that area. And I know how hard it must be to learn this. And I don't know if something like this has happened before in Maui. I don't know the history of wildfires like this. I do know from just reading this morning. Lahaina is in a very dry area. I know that Maui has dealt with drought before. There are images of the winds I want to show you right now. I mean, remember the hurricane, earlier last month or late last month, late July, that hurricane went south. They were scared that it was going to hit Maui, but we're talking about and again, we know what this is like. We know these images, but look at this right now. I mean, look at that wind. Look at those power lines. And this is what fire crews sadly are battling with right now. And I'm just so sorry, friend. I can't. There's no words. There's no words.
I was just emailing back and forth with a listener viewer yesterday who's in Maui, and she had wanted our list of all the fun things to go and do and see. And so I sent her all the information I had, and she was saying she, went to Baby Beach, and she went to Ho'okipa, and she went and did all these fun things. She'd been to Mama's Fish House and Star Noodles. And she said, but I have to tell you, it's so windy here. She goes, it's so windy, you almost can't go to the beach. And she goes, she said, the power's been out most of the time that we've been here. So we've been in the dark. I said, well, it'll be one of those vacations you'll talk about forever that, remember that time we were in Maui and we sat around in Maui in the dark? And she said, yeah, it's, stuff of family lore, whatever.
Yeah.
This place is so special to me. It's where I got married and where my kids took their first steps and the first time they ever went into the ocean, and just like so many family vacations and so many moments. And I know I'm not alone. I know you guys feel it. Lahaina town is an historic whaling town. And when you told me the banyan tree had burned,
well, that's what we're hearing. There's no confirmation, but everything that I'm seeing on social media, because of where it is in Lahaina, right in that marina area, that people don't see how it survived. I mean, it would be a miracle.
You might as well have told me this morning that the Golden Gate Bridge fell. I mean, that's how devastated I am right now. This is awful.
Sorry.
This couldn't be any worse. And so, you think about what's lost, but right now I'm just hoping everybody's okay. I'm hoping that our listener is okay.
Yeah.
And that her family, she was taking her whole family to Maui. So I'm hoping that everyone's all right. And I think that's where you have to focus first before you start thinking about what's gone and what's lost.
I mean, and again, and it's also a bit of, we know, right? Especially Europe in the North Bay, we've seen these images, paradise, so many images of people fleeing wildfires all around them. Here's one image that the reporter was referring to. This is one of the videos of people trying to escape. It's devastating. I mean, look at that fire burning, and they're just stuck in traffic.
Oh, God damn it. Let's go.
And they're just trying to get out.
Let's go.
Oh, that's frightening.
It's frightening. And we know how quickly these things can burn, especially when everything is so dry out there. But again, I think that the last that I checked, there had been several homes that had burned. We're talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds. According to the Associated Press, and I am sure that these numbers have changed, there's no one's aware of any deaths. You did hear people escaping into the ocean, thankfully. One injury was a firefighter with smoke inhalation, but there's no word, at least at this point, on the total number of homes. But it's going to be devastating. And again, just the images of, we were just there. When they're, and it gets me emotional because you see the pictures of that street, and it's so hard to comprehend what these people are going through right now and how long it's going to take for them to rebuild. It's not you can't rebuild everything.
You showed that picture of people trying to get out, and I'm reminded how the streets there, the main roads in and out on the big highway and the lower highway, they're often one lane in each direction, not more than two.
Exactly.
And so when you have so many people probably trying to get out from even down in Kaanapali,
Yes.
and Napili and all these places, I mean, I don't know what's happening further down the road on the highway, but would imagine everyone's headed to the airport to try to leave, or I don't know, maybe just even running into the sea or trying to get on a boat. I don't know what's happening there with that. So I can imagine traffic is backed up for miles and miles. And so
Oh,
if the
absolutely.
wildfire comes up to the side of the roadway, we saw that in Paradise, people trying to
Mhm.
leave, and they never made it out of their cars. A lot of people found in their burned, wrecked cars.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's not the case here. Here's a map. I mean, even Google Maps has it. So you'll see right here on your screen several locations of where they're battling Maui wildfires. Um, it's everywhere right now. I mean, Maui is everyone's just trying to escape. Obviously, like the reporter had said, to the east, the west side of Maui is extremely dangerous. When we were in Maui for the 4th of July, on the 4th of July, we were driving home and I said exactly what you were just saying, Kim. We were stuck in bumper to bumper traffic, one-way traffic. And I said to my husband, I wonder what happens when there's a major emergency. I guess they just have to go on the shoulder, but many parts of the shoulder is literally the ocean. So
Yeah.
how are these people getting out? And it's just so I wonder what's going to happen, with, emergency crews, emergency evacuations, what needs to change. But right now they got to get this fire out. They got to help the people there. And again, our hearts go out to everybody that lives there, that's vacationing there. I want to play you a little bit of this report from KTVU because they went to the airport this morning. And there's one couple, some tourists like Kim, just like you, hadn't even heard of the fire yet.
Yeah.
They're going to Maui and the reporter is telling them about this fire. But then there's this couple that lives in Maui.
One couple I spoke to was in tears as they were in the line here, saying they live in Lahaina. They were on vacation here and now they are headed back early. All they know is what they've seen on the news, intense videos. This is the town of Lahaina. You can see heavy smoke and high winds. It's the Front Street area, the historic downtown area, very popular for tourists. Apartments and stores have burned down. People have been evacuated. The Coast Guard said they had to rescue a dozen people who jumped into the water to escape the flames. Steph and Kimo Kirkman say their home, it's in the middle of all of that smoke.
The whole town's gone. Front Street.
Oh.
Luna, we live right up the line. Luna, we have a house. And our dogs are stuck in the house.
We don't know if our house is up or we don't know if our animals are alive or not. So we're heading back now.
Those poor people.
The fire in Lahaina is just one of the wildfires burning right now. There are also fires in the upcountry area of Maui. Overnight, the fires have spread, fueled by those high winds. There's also brush fires on the Big Island, but there's not a lot of information being released because phone lines are down, internet is down. There's also no 911 service right now in West Maui. I've seen on social media people trying to get in touch with their family members that live in their area and just can't find a way to get in touch with them. But Kimo and Steph, they are on their way there. They're not sure if they're even going to be able to get to their house because they say the whole area has been evacuated, but they are just praying that their dogs are somehow okay. Maybe that their home was spared or the dogs were able to get out. That's really just all they are hoping for right now.
And they're telling people if you have plans to go to Maui right now to cancel those plans. That if you love Maui, right now it's not going to be a place for you to vacation. And I know how devastating it is to change plans, but don't go.
It's interesting that I was just reading a story from the Chronicle, I think yesterday, about how Maui tourism officials market to the Bay Area because Bay Area residents tend to be the kind of people who appreciate the culture, who appreciate the environment, who approach a visit to Maui with, kind of reverence. And I think a lot of us, they got it right. I think a lot of people in the Bay Area are going to be moved by this, are going to be affected by this, because for a lot of people, this is the place that that they take their family every summer, or this is their special place, I feel so devastated, honestly, that this is happening.
We're going to have to rally. We are definitely going to have to rally as Americans, as Californians, as Bay Area people, as people who love Hawaii, to help them. They are going to need donations. They are going to need resources. Just because they're off in the middle of the ocean doesn't mean that they're not needing help ASAP. When things like this happen, this is history. We are losing history here. People's livelihoods. People, where are they going to live? How are they going to work? All of these sorts of things. A disaster declaration has been announced or approved by FEMA. But that money needs to come in. I mean, I would hope that President Biden will, obviously bring more attention to this because it needs to happen now.
According to CNN, the White House and President Biden is monitoring the wildfires.
Okay.
They said they've been in contact with local officials on Maui.
Right.
And they're not sure about whether they can get federal aid there quickly enough, but that's something being talked about.
Right.
Karen says the Hawaiian Red Cross haven't heard about donations. You know what I'll do over the next few hours, and I think we hold for now as far as donating.
They'll let us know what they need when they need
over
it.
the next few hours. We'll be looking around, and tomorrow when we come on, I'll have a list for you if are so moved to help of the best and the most legitimate places to donate if you wanted to do that.
This is the banyan tree. This is in Lahaina. It's right by the marina. If you've been there, it's huge. You cannot miss it. And apparently it's the second oldest in the world. These are the things that we can't get back. I mean, it would be a miracle if it survived. You always hear those sorts of stories of, oh my God, this one thing survived, but we just don't know yet. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point as well. Obama is from Oahu. Yeah, it's. I'm sure former President Obama will be making it a statement as well. That's right. He does have his family from Hawaii, so it's just really sad. It's a terrible way to wake up. And again, I just keep remembering that we go through this, and that's another thing about Californians. When things like this happen, we know what it feels like. We know what it's like to see this sort of devastation, but when it's so close and when it's to a community that, is different. It is different because it is Hawaii, it is Maui and all the history there. It's just really, really sad, especially after everything with the pandemic and all sorts of things. I'm just so sad for it. And I'm sorry, Kim, I know that you have such a connection there.
Yeah, it's devastating news, really devastating. So news I'll be following through the morning, of course, with personal interest. And I know a lot of people also interested. Vilma writing, Hawaiians will rebuild. Hawaiians will survive. They are resilient people. The biggest challenge for Hawaiians will be the logistics and getting help to the people.
Yeah, because they are, in the middle of the ocean. They're not in the continental United States. It's not as easy to get things as quickly as you would here on the continental US, but that's why it has to be a concerted effort. That's why this country needs. I mean, how many people do you know love Hawaii? I mean, it is the paradise of the United States, and we need to rebuild it. It's just as important as Paris and all these places that people love to visit. And so we need to rebuild, and we need to help them rebuild. So, yeah, my heart goes out to them too. Hula staff, my heart goes out to the people of Maui. The thought of downtown Lahaina being destroyed just devastates me, especially since my area of Santa Rosa was threatened and burned twice. Yeah. There's so many people that know exactly what people in Maui are feeling right now, and it's sad.
When you see the people trying to flee and the flames on both sides of the road, it could be California.
Absolutely.
We've seen it over and over and over again, and it's terrifying.
And it's
you mentioned the banyan tree, and it has its own Wikipedia page.
Oh, okay.
The
I love
history
that.
of this tree. I just hope it survived. It has 16 major trunks. Banyan trees just grow and grow and grow, and it's one organism, and it almost takes up a full city block. You can see where the kind of it comes down.
Yeah, see those.
It was planted as a gift to the city in the 1870s.
Wow.
It has a lot of history to it. It was planted to celebrate the anniversary of the first Protestant mission to Maui. Whether you want to celebrate that or not, the tree has become part of, it is the focus or the focal point right in the heart of Lahaina town. It's said that even King Kamehameha III had his royal ball underneath that tree in the 1880s. So it's just a part of what makes this place special. And so to consider that that would be gone is horrible. I agree, though. I think Hawaii will rebuild. The museum, Old Pioneer Inn Square, yes, right there, all of the businesses and homes. I was born on Maui, writes KF. My heart goes out to everyone there, and this will drastically change the landscape and the flavor of the island.
You hope not, but again, when devastating things like this happen, especially fires that kind of clear out a lot of the history, something has to take the place, and you hope that it's something that wants to preserve the history, wants to rebuild in a similar way, but unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. I hope that when it is time, that permits and approvals for things keep the history and the culture of Hawaii in mind, because that's what people come there for. It is the history and all those things. And I know, and I've seen the comments, fire does happen. It's not as if it doesn't. It is part of our environment. It does happen. But when you have businesses and homes and people and history being destroyed, it's hard not to consider it a tragedy. I really do hope. Somebody else was saying, hospitals filled with burn victims. I can imagine. I'm hoping that the loss of life isn't huge, because that is the number one thing that matters. Absolutely. Can you rebuild businesses? Of course you can, and all those sorts of things. And of course, life is of the utmost importance. But geez, you could still be devastated about the loss of all this history as well in these buildings. It's just part of it. John writes in, I'm so sorry. I can remember doing the Santa Rosa fire in that round building. I think it's a well or something that burnt down. I couldn't believe it.
Roundhouse, yeah.
The roundhouse, yeah.
A round barn, rather, yeah. So I just, I don't even know. Like, we just have to wait for more word.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah. We'll definitely do it. I'm so sorry. I really thought that you knew Kim, but I realized that you didn't.
Why? What happened this morning was, this is the morning, a rite of passage for the band members at my daughter's high school.
Oh, it was today.
They come and kidnap you and whisk you off to a morning of fun. And so that was this morning at our house. So my attention was turned to what's happening with, Julia being kidnapped by a bunch of high school seniors to take her off to celebrate her beginnings of being in the school band. And so that's what I was looking at. And so when I sat down to come on the show to hear that this was happening, I was like, what do you mean?
Yes.
All of Lahaina town is burning? Upcountry Maui is burning?
Yeah.
Did they say Makawao as well? I'll have to look at the map.
Yeah, you'll have to look at. I mean, again, you're kind of my expert here. You're the one that kind of guided me when I went to Maui. And so when Kim hops on and I hear her in my ear, and I'm like, it's a really sad morning, and she hadn't heard. I have been in the business long enough where you break news to people, but when it's a friend and it's you, and I know how much Maui means to you, that it breaks my heart for you. It breaks my heart for all of us, but to those of you that watch, and to Kim and everyone that has such a connection to that island, my heart breaks for you, and I'm so sorry. It really is. It's really awful. So
I'm glad you got a chance to see it as it was.
I know. And that's the other thing. It's just, we were talking the other day about New Orleans and how you've never been there. And the last time I was there was before Katrina. And it is going to be kind of this before and after. Hula Steph says, just check Big Island news. There is a fire in, I'm sorry, Kim, I don't want to butcher any of these names.
It's North Kohala, the northern tip of the island, right across the channel from East Maui.
Okay.
Kohala is another historic town. It's not as much of a tourist destination as is Lahaina town in Maui, but it's beautiful and it's quiet and it's a lot of old historic buildings and people are on ranches and farms living there. There's some historic places. I think in that area, the birthplace of King Kamehameha. It's just, it's not a place that I want to see go either. to be honest.
Uh,
Mac was
yeah,
good for now. Okay.
yeah, that's what they're saying. Vilma says, I'm sure the Hawaiian Islands have endured devastations before. They've always come back and come back better. We love the culture. We love the history, and it remains through the people of Hawaii. You're absolutely correct. My worry, and I'm not trying to, be a Debbie Downer on the whole thing, is kind of what we were talking about before I went to Hawaii, Kim, which is, the tourism and how it's kind of, you want to be respectful when you go there, and how the price of housing is kind of pricing out Hawaiians from living where their family have lived for generations. And my worry is what happens with the rebuilding. Are the people that have been born and raised there for generations going to be able to afford, for lack of a better word, be able to even afford to live in the new Lahaina? I hope so. I hope that there is a concerted effort to start this process in that way. But we'll have to just see what happens. And again, we have to donate to people so they can rebuild quickly, because that's what needs to happen.
I worry that more of Hawaii could burn because of these hurricane force winds.
Yeah.
It was from Hurricane Dora.
Yeah, Dora,
That
that's what it was.
right. And so as you have these winds whipping, we see this in Southern California, especially with the winds, the Santa Ana winds that are so fierce, kind of roaring through those canyons, and you saw the palm trees kind of just blowing all in one direction there. I worry that like California, the embers can be carried and more of Maui can burn.
Yeah.
So I hope they have enough help. I guess, when someone's so isolated, when a place is so isolated, all you can do is hope. We can't send people there fast enough. We can't send equipment there fast enough, or fire boats, or whatever is needed. And I think it shows that now they need the infrastructure, right? They need to have fireboats parked off the coast of a rebuilt Lahaina town, or
Absolutely.
Kihei, or any of these places that are populated and could burn. And so they need to have plans in place from this day forward.
Right.
This is awful.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry, I could go on and on, but it just
no, but in all honesty, and John makes a good point. It's not even on the effing news. Somebody else was saying it earlier, like CNN's not covering it. If an American town on continental United States, if this was Los Angeles, it'd be all over the news right now. I didn't know how to talk about anything else about this.
Once you told me, I didn't have trouble finding it. Of course, all the Hawaii stations have it, but also it was the number 2 story on a news feed that I get, and CNN has it on the front page. So
okay,
it is being covered. I do believe that that it's getting its due. Yeah,
I think it needs to get more. I mean, I guess if we want people to rally, it needs to be like what it was. Remember, I mean, it's just when we're burning, and I'm using the collective we need to focus on it, and we need, and not just, and I'm glad that it's on Hawaii news, but Hawaii knows about it, right? I mean, I want it here. Okay, good. All right. Well, okay. I'll pull back a little bit. Apparently it's in Houston. We know that you need to blanket news to get the help that this town is going to need. Right. And so I guess that's more my point. All right. I'm assuming, Kim, you're not ready for news, so we could just kind of move.
I have news. It's
you
okay.
have news. Okay, yeah. Let's do a little bit of headlines. When we come back, we will switch gears. We'll talk a little bit about. I hate to switch gears so much because I do want to focus. Kim will be following this on her news. Don't worry about it. But did you see the presidential ad for Mike Pence? He's made a mistake in his ad that apparently a lot of people make when they're running under this particular issue. So it's kind of funny there. I do want to talk about issue 1 in Ohio. Does this give you hope regarding the protection of abortion rights? And then we have to talk about that Catholic couple in Massachusetts. They were denied the ability to foster children. Now, we know how important foster parents are. I know foster parents. I know how hard it is to be a foster parent and to kind of be that bridge to a permanent home for these children that need a home. But they have been denied because they're Catholic and they have certain beliefs regarding transgender rights. And so is it fair to deny a child a home, a foster family a child because of this? I'm kind of torn on it. So we'll discuss that. I didn't do this at the beginning because, of course, We had the tragic news out of Maui, but if you guys can click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show, we really do appreciate it. The super chat is also live. And Harry, of course, thank you so much for starting us off, as you often do, with the $5 super sticker. It really does help us out. And again, please go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com, donate and become a monthly Patreon supporter. I'm wearing some of the merch now. You can find our merch shop. It's like the 3 circles I'm doing right now. I finally found my t-shirt. I felt like somebody stole it from me, but I found it. So you get a shirt like this. This is the women's shirt. There's a man's shirt up there. We have bags. We have all kinds of stuff. The link to our merch shop and our PayPal and everything is at theNikkiMedoroShow.com. And we like to be here. You know, when news breaks, we like to be here for you. Yeah. And so if you can become a monthly Patreon subscriber, it helps myself. It helps Kim keep this show going. All right. So we're going to talk about all of that after the headlines with Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, I know other people would probably lead with what's happening with the former president, but I'm leading with Hawaii this morning. This is dozens of homes and businesses are destroyed, as we mentioned, after this massive wildfire broke out in historic Lahaina town. People were forced to jump into Lahaina Small Boat Harbor to avoid the fast-moving flames in Lahaina. Maui County requesting now the Hawaii National Guard respond to the natural disaster. It might be the worst in Hawaii's history since Hurricane Iniki in 1992. And as Nikki showed earlier, the map of where the wildfires are currently burning, the red on the west is Lahaina town. You have upcountry Maui affected by this as well. I don't know how extensive the fires are in upcountry, and I'm hoping that there are rare plants and habitats on Haleakala, which is a volcano in this area, that is not burning. So again, this is a story that we will be following, and if any news breaks, I will bring it to you. And now to former President Trump, because the judge overseeing Trump's 2020 election interference case scheduled a hearing for Friday. This is in Washington, D.C. It is likely to determine what rules should be imposed for the handling of evidence. The Justice Department recently filed for a protective order asking the judge to place some limits on Trump's speech about the case. Yesterday, he was talking again about his feelings on the case in kind of a nasty way. So the more he talks, the more the judge may be persuaded that he needs to have a gag order in place. In Ohio, abortion, the key issue in a special election last night. The Republican,
so happy about this.
Yes, the Republican-controlled state legislature was pushing for an amendment to the state constitution to make it harder to change the constitution out of fear that pro-abortion advocates would add abortion rights into the document. About 57% of voters said no to that measure. So they want not to make it harder to change their state constitution.
Right. And so what this means is that there was a proposed ballot or amendment on the ballot for November, and that would require just a simple majority to enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution. Because, you know, you want to make it harder for people to make things amendments in the Constitution, if that makes sense. So I wonder what this means and if Republicans are going to be listening, because if you're in a Republican-controlled legislature and you put something out there and it is soundly rejected by your voters, I mean, can you not see that most Americans want what was protected under Roe v. Wade? I feel like they're just completely tone deaf to what America really wants. And I hope this continues to spread as they try to restrict abortion rights. The actual people use the power of their vote to stop it.
I don't think they care. They want what they want in a rabid, ferocious way. They don't care that the majority of Americans are not on their side. As long as they have the power, they'll do everything they can to make this their key issue so that reproductive rights are taken away from women.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, let's go on now to President Biden. picture of him. President Biden says he has practically declared a national climate emergency, though he's actually yet to make that a formal declaration. In an interview with the Weather Channel, the president was asked whether he was prepared to declare a climate emergency, in which he said he had already done that, laying out his climate agenda. Environmental advocates have called on the president to formally make it a declaration. We'll see if that happens. You may have heard this, but COVID is heating back up again. There's a new COVID variant spreading through the US. It is EG.5, causing about 17% of new COVID cases in the country. This new variant comes just as hospitalizations for COVID are rising in the United States. Worrisome because now we're going back to school, right? So here comes COVID again. Just kind of can't get away from it. Do you remember the issue with the recording artist, musician Travis Scott with the stampede at his concert?
Oh, yeah.
So he's planning his first show since that tragedy at Astroworld. Law enforcement not happy. They don't want him to do it. But it was announced today that Scott is scheduled to perform at the Toyota Center in October as part of his Circus Maximus tour. The Houston Police Union released a statement saying they were in complete disbelief when Scott announced the concert, that they will be urging elected officials to call off that show. They don't want him to do that.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know. This is we'll end it with a good news story. An American nurse and her daughter are free after being kidnapped in Haiti. Alex, her name was Dorsonville, and her daughter is kidnapped while working for the nonprofit El Roy Haiti in Port-au-Prince last month. The nonprofit asked for no one to contact her or her family, as they're saying she heals from that situation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, so at least they're both safe, and they both have been rescued, and we hope the best for them.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Of course, this report is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. You can find us at theNikkiMedoroShow.com, where the Patreon and PayPal links are up and located. And of course, the Super Chat is live. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
All right. Thank you, Kim. And yeah, let me say, yeah, Randy clarified it better. Okay. So with issue 1 in Ohio, Randy says to Lori, who was like, doesn't it make it harder to protect reproductive rights? The belief is there aren't enough votes in Ohio to pass any amendments restricting abortion rights. So in Ohio, they wanted to protect abortion rights. The measure proposed toughening rules for groups trying to place measures on the ballot. One, by requiring more signatures, and then raising the threshold of support needed to 60%. So I kind of had it a little bit backwards there, but yeah, basically it makes it easier for Ohioans, if that's how you call them, to protect abortion rights. But my point is, are Republicans in places like Ohio truly listening to the will of the people? And I just don't think so. Like Kim said, I think it is just an issue that they think they can win on. And no matter how many times they seem to lose on it. So we'll follow and see the repercussions of that. And again, there is a presidential election coming up, and people are running on this. Republicans, of course, are running on this. And I wouldn't say no stronger, but definitely a strong anti-abortion candidate, of course, is former Vice President Mike Pence. So Mike Pence has made a mistake, and I don't understand. When I watch this video that I'm about to show you, it's an ad. It's a presidential, campaign ad for him. He's talking about gas prices, which is an easy thing to do, completely ignoring the fact of OPEC and all those sorts of things. But it's as if they can't do another take. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, you could do another take of this. But watch this video of Mike Pence. And the thing is, the gas tank is already open. The beeping has already happened. He is not actually pumping his gas. Does it really matter to people? I don't know.
Hey, everybody. Mike Pence here. Remember $2 a gallon gas? I do.
You're old.
And then Joe Biden became in the United States and
They put
launched
it
his
in. He's
war
not
on
actually
energy.
pumping.
Since that time, gasoline prices are up
Hear the
60%. Electricity prices are up 25%. Joe Biden's war on energy is causing real hardship for working families, small businesses, and family farms. But we've got a plan to relieve all of that. We just unveiled a Pence energy plan that'll not only put our country back on a path to energy independence, but by 2040, we will reclaim America's role as the leading producer of energy in the world. Join us in the fight for American energy leadership by going to MikePence2024.com. We can lead the world once again to a more prosperous and a secure future for America with energy independence and American energy leadership.
That beeping mic means that you have to choose the grade of gas that you want to choose, because apparently you never pump your own gas. But he's not the first one. I just thought it was funny. Like, all the comments yesterday were, it's such acting. But for me, who's recording this? Who is recording this? Stop. Understand there's beeping going on. Fix that. But yeah, I get it. Gas prices, I was just watching the news yesterday, Kim. San Jose actually has, for the Bay Area, the cheapest gas because it's actually under $5 a gallon. It's going up, and I'm really upset about it as well, especially because I got to drive up to San Francisco again. It sucks. It really does suck. But what's happening in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East and with OPEC impacts things here. Joe Biden does not control OPEC. I don't know how many times people have to understand that, but he doesn't. And so, yes, he can ask them to, he could try to pressure them to, release more oil and all those sorts of things, but it doesn't happen that way. It's another talking point for the Republicans who are trying to explain the situation in a way that is not true. Wow, Randy. I'm not calling you old, Randy. Mike Pence seemed old. Randy says, I remember 21 cents a gallon in northern Indiana when I was a kid. 21 cents a gallon. Beth says, I worked at a gas station where gas was 25 cents a gallon. I started driving when it was 99 cents a gallon. I firmly remember 99 cents a gallon. Perry Joe says, like Bush and the price of milk. Yeah, they're so disconnected. They don't even know the price of things anymore. Now, would I love $2 a gallon gas? Hell yeah. But to kind of make it as if it's Joe Biden's fault is a bit rich.
And what does it say that Pence's energy policy is being discussed while he's pumping gas? So what are you saying? What can we then take that the underlying issue
pipeline,
of
Kim? It's all about that.
So, that's where we're headed now. I understand. And Randy and I had this discussion a couple days ago. We understand that we need the gas right now, but we need to be slowly weaning ourselves off of it, not, introducing more pipelines and, pillaging the earth and more. So I just, that he is standing there pumping gas, talking about energy policy, that's not a good sign to me. Of someone who cares about the environment.
But they don't care about the environment, right? They don't. I mean, I have not seen a Republican. I'm sure there are some, but the only Republican, and I'm putting this in quotes, is Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was governor of California. He understood climate change, a big solar proponent, got the whole solar business really going in California, which was awesome. They want to ignore that the country and the world is literally burning, to bring it back to what's happening, unfortunately, in Maui. Look, can we do anything immediately? Do fires happen? Do wildfires happen? Do droughts happen? Yes. Can we, as human beings, do something to hopefully lessen it? Why not? Why not? Yeah, Kim, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Arnold drove a Hummer. Exactly. They do have electric Hummers, do they not? I think they came out with an electric Hummer. Yeah. We just need to realize that we need to move off of oil. Fossil fuels, and they do have a place, right? I'm not saying that it could be 100%, although that'd be nice. But we really need to move away from it. And all this quote unquote clean energy truly needs to be clean from beginning to end, right? I mean, we can't keep promoting lithium batteries. Well, we know the cobalt drilling in other parts of the world is devastating the environment there. We need to figure out a way of doing this cleanly from beginning to end. And we are far, very far from being able to do something like that. Yeah, Harry, drill, baby, drill gets you burn, baby, burn. Yep. It's so, and again, a day like today with what's happening in Lahaina absolutely brings it to the forefront. Oh, Luis, thank you so much for the $20 donation. Luis's comment, in honor of Hana, Wailea, Lahaina, Molokai, Kanapali, Kihei. Tim, do the rest of them, please.
Kahului, Paea, Haleakala, and all the other wonderful places on Maui I have visited. I try to go every year, and I was next heading there March of 2024. This truly sucks.
Yeah. We were planning on going back in July of next year. I don't foresee that happening now. My brother, when Kim was doing the news, was texting me, about the news story. Because obviously my brother's not watching my show. And I was like, yes, I've been talking about it. But yeah, it's just so devastating. It really, really is. But again, this conversation about clean energy, gas prices, it's all part and parcel of the same thing. Oh, here we go. What is this?
I wanted to show you. There's a video now where we saw a video of people driving out, but look at this video from the water out looking toward Lahaina town. It just shows you that the devastation and the burning, the historic buildings on fire here in Lahaina town. And I hadn't seen that perspective before as they're looking from the water out. Oh my God,
look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening and not watching, I mean, just that whole coastal town, it's just burning. The hills, when you're driving on that one way in each direction highway, how frightening. And that's what gets me choked up. It's just how frightened these people must be. It's so devastating.
Look at the wind. Look at the way the trees are moving.
Yeah.
So when you were opening the show, I had called my mom, who is, also Maui is in her heart. It's her happy place. And told her to turn on the news and take a look. And she was crying and upset. So this is a day where it's a sad day for a lot of people.
It's a sad day for America. I mean, this is part of us, but the people is what my heart breaks for so much. And I hope they can rebuild quickly. I hope the resources are, mobilized quickly to help these people. I really do. I really, really do. Okay.
Thank you, Luis. That was a nice,
yes,
a
and
nice
thank you,
donation.
Luis, for the donation.
And I like your words, and I'm sorry that that your place that you loved is gone as well, and that you won't be able to go there in March. Maybe you will. I mean, I don't know. I think we have to see. March of 2024 is a ways away. I think when they're talking about canceling travel, they're talking about trips in the next month or two, right? Because we know that it's not going to be feasible to have people there now, when the focus needs to be on rebuilding. So maybe in March of 2024, it's going to be different, but you may still be able to go.
Yeah, and again, they've dealt with devastation. Remember, the volcano eruption and all the, it's not as if Hawaii has not faced any sort of devastation in its history. It's just, I think, also a tourist destination. Yeah, just the image of it. Yeah,
sure. But there are things that these are things Hawaii is used to. When the siren goes off because the tsunami is coming, the waves are incoming. People know, get up country, go. Right. When an earthquake happens and it's big enough, people know, okay, tsunami triggered. I have certain number of hours to probably get to safety or whatever it is. And though Hawaii has seen fires in the past, and I don't think anything like this has ever been expected before. So it's a new one. It'd be like, here in California, earthquakes, we know they're coming.
Right.
We know what to do when they're here. We're hoping our house doesn't fall down around us, but we for most of us, we're pretty adept at what to do in an emergency situation like that. Even wildfires now, I think most of us, I know I still do. I have the important papers in a little box right by the front door. I know where they are, and I know they grab them on the way out. Get the kids, get the dog, get the papers, go.
Yeah.
So that's it. And most of us have that plan. Like, we know what to do, but for this to be the first time this happens there, I worry that people weren't prepared.
No, and somebody was mentioning, I think in our comments, they're prepared for tsunamis, like you were mentioning, but wildfires like this and how quickly it is, and just again, I mean, the thing that just gets me, pardon me, is Kim, your recommendations, right? Like when I see these roads and you sent me there because so many people love to see that area and support those businesses, and it's gone. It's just so awful. It's just so awful. So again, we'll continue. Ricky O'Bear is making an excellent point. Consider just donating to the Red Cross. I mean, when in doubt, the Red Cross is obviously going to be out there helping. Also, blood donations will likely be needed. So just keep your eyes and ears open for the way to help the people of Lahaina and Maui as a whole. Laura says Obama will probably visit and help raise money. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I was saying, I bet you're right, Lori. Yeah. Oh, Ricky, I'm done. People say thoughts and prayers. I say donate. You're absolutely correct. Whatever you can donate, because every bit helps.
Jenny has a trip planned to Kihei at the end of September.
I don't know, Jenny.
Let's just wait and see, Jenny, because I think, once they get the fires out, they look at the damage, they have a plan for rebuilding. They may need people to still come, or they may say, you know what, everybody put a pause on it. So
right. Yeah.
Deidre says, my friend from Makawao, my son's house was so bad with smoke in upcountry that they couldn't breathe. Oh.
Yeah. And Deidre's also going to be in Kihei at the end of September.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people are planning their last minute vacations, right now. And again, I think Kim's right. They'll probably still need the tourist dollars because that's a lot of the revenue that they make. But the number of people also could be in the way of rebuilding efforts. So you definitely want to just listen to the news, reach out, see what's best so that you can help and not hurt in that situation.
I keep checking my email to see. I reached out to our listener who she's the one who made the Taylor Swift tickets possible for us. And I know she values her privacy, so I don't know if she wants me to use her name, but she took her family there, her adult children and grandchildren, and they're somewhere in the Kaanapali area. And so I sent an email to her this morning just saying, tell me you're safe. And I know that the internet service is down there and communications are rocky, but I keep checking to see if she somehow managed to squeak an email through to tell us that she's okay. But I'm really worried about her.
I also reached out to Walter, who also lives in Hawaii, and I think he lives on Maui. I'm not quite sure. Walter was the one that suggested me going to the Maui Ocean Center. Remember, before I was leaving, so I also emailed him this morning, just trying to see if he was okay. I've not heard back from him. I just checked. So, is he on Maui or the Big Island? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. So I know that he he did weigh in on Maui. So that was my assumption, but I'm not quite sure if he was just offering up the suggestion, but I do know that he lives out there. So, but anybody, that's out there, please let us know if you're doing okay or if your family are okay. And they were saying in the news, Kim, that if you need to reach 911, you have to text, because there's no phone service out there. That's how terrible it is right now.
JT says, my sister and grandkids are in Napili. It's a beautiful area. Texted this morning, but haven't heard back yet. We're without power for the last day and a half. Yeah, so is this other viewer or listener. So yeah, it's been 24 hours. So that the power has been out. And so, yeah, it's a devastating thing. And again, we're going to follow it. Kim's going to follow it in her news in just a moment. After Kim's news, I want to talk about fostering children. Anybody in my comments, a foster child or a foster parent that knows anything about the process? When I was working in Sacramento, I collaborated with a lot of these groups that would aid and assist foster parents, find foster parents, provide services to children. And so I've heard a lot of these stories about
not only what these kids go through, especially as they start nearing 18 years old, if they've never been adopted, kind of this bubble resources of services that they find themselves in. But when you have so many children in the foster care system, should we deny willing parents the opportunity to take these children out of the foster care system and give them a home, provide them food, shelter, love? Should we do that? There's this couple in Massachusetts. Now they're Catholic. And apparently in Massachusetts, the state foster care system banned them from participating and becoming foster parents because of their religious beliefs. Basically, they said on their application that they would not be affirming to a child who identified as LGBTQ. That's a tough one. What if they happen to foster a child that is within the LGBTQ community?
And what if they then raise another little bigot?
Right. So here's my question, and we'll do it after Kim's news because I want you guys to ponder this question. You have a young kid in the foster care system, which can, be terrible for some children, right? Not getting the care they need, being ignored, not getting any love, being in it since you were little, aging out where you're not the cute baby anymore. So you just see other kids younger than you going to homes. Is that more traumatic than being a foster child, going to a home and maybe you're gay, lesbian, transgender, and the foster parents in and of themselves won't see you, won't identify you, won't affirm you in that way, won't support you in that way? You tell me which is more harmful and what should be done in this situation. So again, let me know in the comments. I also want to get into a number of other topics if we get to it. If not, I'll save it for tomorrow. But yeah, so click the thumbs up button. Show your support for the show. Again, please go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com and help financially support this show. It's 100% crowdfunded. I depend on it. Kim depends on it. Your financial support to keep this show going, where we talk about all the issues that are happening literally in real time, like the tragedy that is happening in Hawaii. This is what we kind of live for, is doing stuff like this and talking to people and getting your guys' reaction. And we want to continue to do it. So we depend on our Adorables, our monthly Patreon subscribers, to do that. It's a one-time a month donation, whatever you can afford. And if you could bump it up, we would really appreciate it. So just go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com. The links to our PayPal is there. The email is on your screen. That's also the email to reach me. And if you're in Maui, please do and let us know that you're okay. It's theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. The merch shop, like the shirt that I'm wearing, the bags and the mail shirt behind me, theNikkiMedoroShop.com is where you find all of that. So we just appreciate everybody's time and support. All right. We'll talk about the foster care system and LGBTQ children. Should they go into homes that will not affirm their identity? That's next after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Let's start with what is happening in Maui. I was trying to show you a picture of the devastating fire there, but I don't think I can bring it up fast enough. Again, we saw the flames from the water perspective burning historic Lahaina town this morning. This massive wind-driven wildfire has just devastated this historic Hawaiian town. Dozens of homes and businesses in Lahaina on the island of Maui have burned. People forced to jump into the Lahaina small boat harbor to avoid the fast-moving flames. Multiple people had to be rescued from the waters as well. And this story is unfolding. We'll bring you the latest as we get it here on the Nikki Medoro Show, and then continuing with the Mark Thompson Show as well. A newly released memo shows how former President Donald Trump and his allies sought to overturn the results of the 2020 election by using fake slates of electors. The New York Times obtained a copy of the internal memo drafted December 6th of 2020, which lays out this plan to create alternative or fake electors to vote for Trump in multiple states won by Joe Biden that could then be counted by former Vice President Mike Pence. The plan ultimately failed as Pence refused to go along with it. Senator Dianne Feinstein of California is back home now after going to the hospital for a fall yesterday. A spokesperson for the Democrat described the incident as a minor fall in her home. This comes as the 90-year-old senator has dealt with health issues over the last year, of course, calls for her resignation, and so now another hospital stint after a fall. As we mentioned earlier, Ohio voters have spoken. They rejected a measure which would have increased the percentage of the votes needed to amend the state's constitution from a simple majority to 60%. Although the measure did not specifically mention abortion, several Ohio Republican legislators admitted it was an effort to undercut a separate ballot measure that aims to add abortion rights into the state's constitution. So voters said, no. Federal court handing a group of conservative college students a major free speech victory. Young Americans for Freedom sued Clovis Community College after officials there removed flyers that expressed the group's anti-communist sentiments. The school cited its flyer policy, which prohibits inappropriate and offensive language. A district court ruled in October the campus policy had a chilling effect on free speech. The school appealed to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and yesterday, a federal judge sided with the lower court's opinion. The students had a right to post those flyers, and the school should not have taken them down. Yeah. California lawmakers are considering a bill that its author says would make social media safer for kids. It's from State Senator Nancy Skinner. She wrote SB 680. She's from Berkeley. She says her bill would force social media platforms to change their algorithms so kids are not enticed by harmful content about things like eating disorders, self-harm, illegal firearms, illicit drugs, sex trafficking. Several similar bills have died in committee under pressure from tech companies. A trade association that represents, among others, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snap, says lawmakers need to give law enforcement the tools to fight crime and allow tech companies to educate parents and teens about existing tools.
Well, there was a news report, I feel like it was like 2 days ago that I heard, where AI, for instance, was kind of created a 13-year-old kind of girl or whatever. I don't know. It took 2 minutes before she started getting suggestions that had to do with eating disorders and things like that. So when you constantly see the same things on your feed, it can do something to your mental health. And I do think that something needs to be done. My question, of course, is who decides and how do they regulate it, right? Are we using AI to do this? Because AI in and of itself is also causing some of the problem.
Let's move to police in Oakland, who are investigating a slew of robberies in Oakland at a convenience store, liquor stores across the city. At least 4 robberies have taken place at such stores around Oakland over the last couple of weeks. In all the robberies, 6 to 12 men bust into the shop, steal cigarettes and liquor before fleeing the scene. Investigators say it appears to be a coordinated effort, but they have yet to make any arrests in any of these cases yet. Former Raider receiver Harry Ruggs will be sentenced today for a drunk driving crash that killed a woman in Las Vegas. Ruggs pleaded guilty in May to a felony DUI count and a misdemeanor charge of vehicular manslaughter, acknowledging he was responsible for the death of the 23-year-old woman in November of 2021. His attorneys and prosecutors agreed to a sentence of 10 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 3 years. So let's take a look at this story as well. Kind of a lighter story. Subway, of course, we knew they were offering free sandwiches for life to someone who would change their name to Subway. Yeah. Subway Medoro? No, not going for it. Well,
No.
plenty of people, it turns out, are interested in this. The sandwich shop chain says more than 10,000 people have submitted entries indicating a willingness to make the name change. Subway planning to select a single winner from the pool of applicants, giving the person $50,000 worth of gift cards. The winner will also receive $750 to help cover the cost of the actual legal name change to Subway. So, okay.
Interesting. I mean, what would your nickname be if your name was Subway?
Subby?
Subby?
Way?
I guess those are the obvious ones since we said it at the same time.
Oh, lastly,
Okay.
any guesses on what the most pet-friendly city in America is?
Oh, is it San Francisco?
No, it's not in California.
The most pet-friendly city?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what.
Well, it's Scottsdale, Arizona. They're getting a pretty high marks for how they treat their four-legged friends. A new Wallet Hub study out this week ranked the Phoenix suburb the most pet-friendly city in the United States. They used a number of metrics to come up with these rankings, including pet health and wellness and pet budget. While it was ranked poorly for pet budget, it landed the top spot for health and wellness and was also in the top 10 for outdoor pet friendliness. So there's a lot to do with your pet.
You cannot take your pet on a walk in Scottsdale, Arizona when it's 119 freaking degrees and lava hot on the cement. You're carrying that dog.
Yes, but maybe they have allowed a little pet booties for hot walks.
Oh,
I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, like little
I don't
boots
know.
that make the dog like walk like this the whole entire time. No.
Well, at least Scottsdale, Arizona has something going for it.
There you
Congratulations.
go. Doesn't have the temperature, that's for sure.
I wanted to mention one other story. And I don't, this story, the whole Taylor Swift frenzy and the building of the friendship bracelets before the concerts.
Yes.
Apparently this has turned into a business. Have you heard about this?
I have, and I don't understand why, how this works, but okay, go ahead.
I guess people that don't feel they're not crafty or they don't want to take the time to make the bracelets, or maybe they want just more bracelets. Well, an Etsy shop owner cashing in on this friendship bracelet trend because of Taylor Swift's tour. And Swifties across the United States are making these bracelets to trade and hand out to other fans during all stops on the Eras tour. Jamie Tompkins in Oklahoma City said she sold more than 5,000 Taylor Swift handmade friendship bracelets on her Etsy shop over the summer, making about $16,000 in sales. The 46-year-old mom told CNN her bracelet making paid more than her full-time job as an events manager. So people are putting these on their Etsy account, these homemade Taylor Swift friendship bracelets, and raking in the cash. There's our side gig.
No, but you can make
our
them
daughters
for
do
dollars.
it.
But you can make. My daughter made them. I mean, she made a ton of them.
Right.
It's not hard to make friendship bracelets, people. I mean, it's literally what you did at camp. I don't understand what people pay for, but the only thing I could think of is laziness. They just don't want to do it. They don't have the time to do it because it's not like a crocheted blanket or some needlepoint where you have to have the skill and I don't want to mess it up. It's a string. You string things on that. That's it.
You string beads on a string and then you tie it closed and that's the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think Calvin has it right. People are lazy. It's like
people
you
are
would pay that
lazy.
much money.
I think they want to participate in the whole friendship bracelet exchange, but they don't necessarily want to take the time to make the friendship bracelets.
Excuse me, the Taylor Swift line goes, make the friendship bracelets. That's the line of the song.
Yeah.
So you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right.
So yeah, but big money. I was reading another story about a woman who made $50,000 selling her Taylor Swift friendship bracelets on Etsy.
We're in the wrong business, Kim.
I'm just saying, I can put beads on a string. Maybe this is my new career. I don't know.
Well, we to update people, Kim, on our quest to go to New Orleans to see Taylor Swift. We have both been waitlisted. No, but I was reading an article. So yesterday, if you're a verified fan, which Kim and myself signed up to become, you have to choose the date and the location of where you want when she comes back to the United States for a tour. And we chose New Orleans because it's on my birthday. And we both got waitlisted. Apparently everyone and their mother got waitlisted. So I think the Ticketmaster is being really, really careful about who they actually give the codes to because they don't want to give too many codes. But they're saying, I saw this morning, if you do not end up getting a verified fan code, either the first round or the waitlisted, you're not getting tickets. You're not getting tickets unless it's resale. You're not getting face value tickets. So,
well, it doesn't look good for us because we both got waitlisted. They said if for whatever reason someone who gets a code doesn't buy the tickets, then they'll pull our name out, maybe. But I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening either.
No.
Calvin says the chocolate feet soon, putting my feet in some chocolate. I did get some bites on that, Calvin. I did. I'm just going to let you guys know our conversation about what we would do for money and feet. I did get some bites. If you're listening, people that emailed me, I'm not emailing you back because although I talk out my butt, I don't know if I could actually put my name to something like that. I don't know. I was offered some money though, but I don't know about that. I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to say no. I don't think you can do it. No.
I don't know. I haven't done it yet. So there you go. I don't know if I'd be able to do it, but let's just, that's that. Okay. Is that it?
Then a quick update on the Maui situation.
Please.
There are 1,800 travelers at the Maui airport being sheltered at the airport. Kahului sheltering about 1,800 travelers because of canceled flights and flight arrivals. So people arriving there on planes and being told, we got to get you out of here. So they're all at the airport, 1,800 people at least. The Hawaii Department of Transportation says they're working with the airlines and TSA to shelter passengers for safety's sake as the wildfires continue to burn in Lahaina town and upcountry as well. And of course, they're at this time right now discouraging all non-essential travel to the island of Maui because of these fires. So, only 2 flights have been canceled so far at Kahului. There have been 13 delays, 9% of departing flights, and concerns that smoke from the wildfires could disrupt more flights. So at this point, the Kahului airport is a madhouse, not only with people being sheltered there, but people frantically trying to change their travel plans and their flights. So
I'm just, as you're talking, I'm trying to find people that are there, because I know so many people that spend a lot of time there. And I know this one woman through my kids' school. She has family. I think she's from Maui, and so she's gone. I think this is the second time I've seen her post pictures from Maui just this summer alone. And she was posting stuff from Maui 3 days ago, 12 hours ago. She posted a bunch of pictures. She said last afternoon adventure in Maui. So I don't even know where she is. I mean, that was 12 hours ago. So I'm hoping that everybody is safe and my heart goes out. But again, if you're planning on going this week, next week, this month, next month, I don't know if your plans are going to be the same anymore. So I don't think so. I wonder if it would help if they went to different islands. You know what I mean? To help kind of the economy there, to kind of send the money to Maui. I don't know.
I don't.
Easy to change your plans.
I mean, right across the channel, you have Lanai and Molokai,
right?
And there's, I don't know how many hotels on Lanai. At least one. Most of the island is owned by who is it? The tech mogul that owns the island.
Oh, Ellison.
Larry Ellison. Yeah, and I know there's one large hotel there. There may be more. On Molokai, there's a lot of Airbnbs and other places. I don't know if those are all booked right now because of the summer season or not, but I can imagine that there are going to be a lot of locals that need to get off the island, and that those are the places that they would seek shelter. So
right, yeah. So it's probably not best for tourists that are out there. Like, save it for the people that need to escape and live over there. So yeah. So that's it. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Nikki Medoro Show. Thanks, guys. And honestly, thank you so much for everybody, being here and supporting the show, because although we don't like to cover tragedies like this is the great thing about this show. And the fact that Kim and I can be here and kind of do what we do best and would love to do, which is to cover breaking news. Unfortunately, it's often tragic, and that's awful. And thank you, Roger, for just coming in with a $4 super sticker.
Oh, appreciate that.
Louise also came in with a $20 donation to our super chat, in honor of everybody over in Hawaii and Maui. And yeah, it does suck. And of course, Harry with the $5 super sticker starting us off, as he always does. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk a bit about foster care. I was seeing in some of the comments, some of you do have experience in the foster care system. So there is this Catholic couple, Mike and Kitty Burke. I love people named Kitty. I know a Kitty up in Sacramento. She's awesome. Mike and Kitty Burke explored becoming foster parents through the Massachusetts Department of Child and Families Foster Care System. They had months of training. They had home visits. They had extensive interviews, and they wanted to hopefully eventually adopt children. But apparently they were denied after all of that because they put on their application that they would not affirm a child that was LGBTQ. During the home interviews, the Burkes were troubled that much of the questioning centered around their views on sexuality and their response if a child were in the future to struggle with gender dysphoria or identify as gay or lesbian. The couple estimates a third of the time in the interviews was spent on those types of questions. They emphasize that they would love and accept their child no matter his or her future sexual orientation or struggles with gender identity. Kitty shared, when asked how they feel if their child identified as lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, or any other sexuality, Kitty shared, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to love you the same, but I believe you would need to live a chaste life. Mike agreed, said there's nothing wrong with it, but he said he'd want to have a conversation with the child about this at an appropriate time, and reiterated that there would not be a change in how the Burkes would treat or love their child. But yet,
what does that mean, living a chaste life? Like you would then have to not be a sexual person at all? So if you identify as gay, or you love somebody else because you don't conform to their ideas of what's normal, then you just don't get to be a sexual person at all?
But I would raise my hand and say this. If they're Catholic, they probably say the same thing if their kid was straight. You're not supposed to have sex before marriage, according to Catholics. So
That's
of course
worked out
they would
for a
promote
lot of
that.
people really well.
Well, yeah, we could debate that, of course. And how many Catholics have sex before marriage? How many Catholics have gotten divorced? So let's stop, okay? But again, if you're a Catholic couple and you're promoting a certain lifestyle because of your religious beliefs, not having sex, living a chaste life would happen whether their child was LGBTQ or straight, in my understanding of how they live their life. So is it fair to deny a child a foster home or foster parents a child simply because of their religious beliefs? Eric says, didn't the Pope just declare that homosexuality wasn't a sin or a crime? I think I saw earlier, but extramarital sex was. And Donald says having sex is different than identifying as a specific gender. Yes, but I think what they're saying is if, for instance, you're gay, they want you to live a chaste life. But I'm going to also believe that they would say that if their child was straight as well. That's what I'm saying. And of course, chaste does not mean celibate. I think that's what they mean. That's what I think they mean. I could be totally inferring that incorrectly, but I would say that if you're a Catholic parent and you tell somebody I'm telling my child to live a chaste life, I think that they mean that they don't want their child to have sex.
Here's the meaning of chaste: not having experienced sexual intercourse, virginal. Number 2, abstaining from sexual relations that are not sanctioned by certain religious laws or moral principles. Number 3, abstaining from sexual relations, celibate. That's what they're saying, that you don't get to have sex then. If you are different from the way they want you to be, then you just have to live your life as a chaste person.
Yeah. Jennifer says, with over 10% of the population in the community, it is not a small issue. It's not fair to the child. I would say this. Why not ask the child? Now, of course, we're talking about infants or little kids. Obviously, they may not have any comprehension to the question that you're asking. But if it's someone that's older, would you have a problem living with and don't even bring up necessarily LGBTQ, just a Catholic couple and all that comes with that, right? Because there's things that can come with that. Now, Randy says, if you're a 14-year-old kid, shouldn't you be chaste anyway? Oh, Randy, I would love for that to be universally true, but that is not universally true. Kids are having sex at 14.
Even so, Randy, even if your 14-year-old is chaste, as they should be, even if your 15-year-old is, this is the time when they're thinking about who they are in all capacities, including their sexuality. So to have someone come in and say, you're wrong, the way you're thinking about sex is wrong, there's something dirty about who you are as a person, we know that this type of thinking and this type of kind of suppression and kind of heavy-handedness and disapproval of someone and who they are as a person leads to mental health issues. It's like
Mm.
you're and higher suicide rates. And so what you're doing is exchanging one set of problems for another, right? So would
Yeah.
you rather grow up in a shelter with other kids, but maybe exit the shelter not having all these hangups about sexuality and be made to feel bad about who you are? Or would you rather not live in the shelter and maybe have more of an affluent lifestyle with parents who
Don't accept you for who you are.
they don't, but they also maybe will be helpful at school and,
Right.
have a hand in your education and do all these other things that will lift you up while at the same time pushing you down because of who you may or may not be. So I don't know. Like I said, exchanging one set of problems for another.
I think if we also look at the sex abuse of
Mhm.
of priests, one could believe that the suppression of sexuality for men, right, specifically priests, has led to a lot of the problems that we've seen. Now, I'm not saying it is 100% the cause of it, but I can imagine that some men that may be homosexual and were raised, let's just say Catholic or Christian, go into the priesthood to hopefully suppress those desires. Now, I'm not saying that makes them sexual abusers. What I am saying is sex is a natural part of being a human being. And when you suppress that, bad things could happen. Not 100%. So don't get on me about this. I'm not saying that everybody that doesn't have sex or becomes a priest and never has sex is going to be a sexual abuser. I think there's something wackadoo in your head to be able to abuse children in that way, obviously. But I also think, this whole idea that to be religious, to be closer to God, you cannot have sex. That seems such a man-made rule to control that was created and made up, in my belief, to control people.
Yeah.
That it's nonsense. It really is. Now, if you're going to impose as a Catholic couple your beliefs on a child that does identify as LGBTQ, I do think that you're doing harm to that child. Think if a child comes to you and says, "This is who I am," accept them. You can guide them in so many other ways. Be kind to people, be giving, look out for your neighbor. But going after their sexuality or their gender identity because your religion says that it's a sin or it's an abomination or whatever word you want to use, I think is really harmful to a child. It really is. Vicky says religion needs to stay out of the foster care system. I think religion does have huge benefits for people. I think that religion can give you and help guide you to have a moral code. I don't think it's the only way. I don't think that you need to have religion to be a moral person. I think it can help in some instances, but not if you're asking a child who's discovering who they are to suppress that. I think that's harmful to a child. Randy says, I haven't talked to this couple as Kim. Do we know that they will mistreat an LGBTQ Kim as Kim seemed to describe? Well, no, they're saying that they would never reject a child and they would not incur, but they also believe children should not undergo procedures to attempt to change their God-given sex. And they would uphold Catholic beliefs about marriage and sexuality. How far does that go? Do you look at a child and say, you're an abomination? Do you look at a child and say, if you're gay, you're going to hell? Yeah. That's an awful thing to tell a child. That's an awful thing to tell a child.
Well, Randy, I don't know, and I haven't talked to the couple, but what I wonder is if it was bad enough for them to be denied foster care privileges,
right,
then what must the foster care people have heard from them that would be unhealthy for a kid? So while they're saying, well, we would, not push the kid out of our lives if they were gay, but we would give them guidance and try to make them be somebody else. I don't know. I don't know. But my mind goes to the worst place scenario, Randy. So I'm thinking to myself, if they're denied the ability to be foster parents, then they must have, come in there with all kinds of things that they were saying that were like, that's not healthy for a kid. So I don't know.
And I think that people can use religion in both good and bad ways, right? You can use religion to make people hate each other. You can use religion to make people united. It's all about the people. So obviously there was something with this couple's responses that the Massachusetts Family Services did not like. But again, because I have in the past reported on the foster care system so many times, my heart does break for children that are just looking to get out of the system, that are looking for a home and a loving family. And so I do want to pause a bit and be like, okay, well, what does that fully mean? Do we need to do more checkups with the kids? Does your child identify as LGBTQ? And what are you doing to support that? Would you be able to support that even if it does go against your religion? Does your foster care child have to believe in God like you do? Those are all questions that I would want asked, because you're putting this child in a home and who knows what the hell's going on behind closed doors. So yeah, I don't know. I feel for both sides of this. We'll have to see what happens.
What do you think? Should they be allowed to have the kids?
Well, they're suing because they say that it's unconstitutional. They say Massachusetts law protects the religious liberty of foster parents. Yes, but I do think that you also have to. The foster care system is out to protect the child, I would hope, and not put them in a home in which they could be, at the very least, emotionally abused for being, not falling in line with a certain family's religious beliefs.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Vicky says, Nikki, look at the religious right using their beliefs as a bludgeon. Again, because I'm so torn. I was raised in a Catholic household. I would never, and I know so many good Catholics. I know a lot of good Catholics. I really, really do. But again, I don't know what every single Catholic that I know or don't know would do when presented a situation in which they have to raise a child. And what are you telling this child if they are LGBTQ? Like, if you are saying that they're an abomination, if you're telling that child that they're going to hell, if you're telling that child that it's just a phase, if you're telling that child that they don't know who they are, I think that's abuse. And I would never support putting a foster child who's obviously already gone through something traumatic through even more abuse through the foster care system. That's what I would not support. Lori says, would the couple be willing to only foster older children who are already sure of their sexuality? This could help the foster system by placing older kids who are harder to place. These kids can make a choice. I like that idea, actually. Like, okay, well, you need to, and it would say, okay, then you can only take straight kids that are older, that already know about their sexuality. Because that's not fair either.
When you hear about some foster, and not all foster families are like this. There are wonderful people that open their homes to children, but there are also people that are abusive, that have been horrible to foster kids, right? So when you hear that kids bounce around from home to home, it may be that there are mental health challenges or behavioral challenges, but it also may be that some foster families the people are not good. And so when you hear about that, and then you hear about being denied because of a religious reason, you wonder, like, well, how come then you let other people into the foster system that have mistreated kids and are abusive to kids? And I think that's way worse, maybe. I don't know. I think you have a shortage of people. You have someone willing to open their home. I agree with Lori. Like, maybe have an older kid who isn't going to be impacted as much by that type of thing, being raised from a small child to be told this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then when you come of age, realizing, I'm what's wrong. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Randy asks, is this couple going to tell any LGBTQ kids that they're going to hell? Where does that come from? The fact that they consider it a sin, Randy. The couple expressed, quote, this is from the report, the couple expressed they are not open to gender affirming care and believe that partnership outside of a heterosexual marriage is a sin. They are heavily involved in their Catholic church and cite their religious views as their primary reason for seeing LGBTQIA plus individuals in this way. If you believe something is a sin, if somebody lives a life according to them as a sin, where do you think they're going, Randy? Where do you think they believe these people are going? I have had people look at me in the face and tell me they believe gay people are going to hell. Okay? Said it. the words. And that's an awful thing to tell people. It is awful. It's awful. So I do not support that belief. I just, there are people that do awful things in this world that I could say that person should go to hell. Loving people, literally making love a sin, is ridiculous to me. It's absolutely ridiculous. Vanessa says LGBTQIA kids have the highest suicide rates and highest rates of homelessness due to rejection by parents. The risk of potentially unsupportive parents is too high. Yep, I completely agree. And Eric says those same people believe homosexuality is a choice too. Oh yeah, it has to be, because otherwise, what? God made a mistake? Believe me, I can go down this rabbit hole every day of the week, and it stinks because love is love, as the saying goes. Love is love, and I can't imagine people thinking that love is a sin. All right, let's kind of switch. It's still under the umbrella of love, but we're going to bring in social media into this conversation about love. Okay, how many people out there use dating apps? Anybody use dating apps? Tinder, Grindr, Bumble, what are the other ones? Match.com. There's all kinds of dating apps. Well, has anyone out there ever thought about using LinkedIn as a dating site? So there is a woman that's gone viral, let's say. Her name is Candace Gallagher. And she says she uses LinkedIn to look for men to date. And she says, why am I using LinkedIn? The filters. Now, again, there are people that use dating apps and the filters are awful, right? I don't want anyone below this height. I don't want anyone over this weight. I don't want, all sorts of things. So is this woman wrong? She says, I love the filters. I could filter for education, MBA, baby. She also says that she's looking for doctors, lawyers, finance bros. She's from the UK, but she works in Singapore. She said there's one drawback to using LinkedIn as a dating platform. There's no feature to filter out men by their height, which is lame.
Whatever.
I know, exactly. I hate.
What does she do for a living?
Trying to
Is
see.
she a gold digger?
Well, now
is that her profession?
Is it wrong? This is why I brought it up. Is it wrong to use a social media platform like LinkedIn, which does have all these, if you're looking for someone of a certain education for a job, that's okay. But you can't use LinkedIn to filter for someone that might be in a certain job field. Is that wrong in some way? I mean, why? And if it's wrong, why is it wrong? John says it doesn't list whether you're married or single. True. Eric says she sounds pretty shallow, as opposed to people on dating apps that do this. Right? I mean, is there anything wrong? So she's an English expat. She lives in Singapore. I'm trying to figure out what she does. Oh, she writes. She's a writer. She document. I believe. Oh no, she does marketing for a financial tech firm. That's what she does. Okay. So she relocated to Singapore 4 years ago. She's on a mission to go through 10 dating apps in 10 weeks in hopes of finding her perfect man. So she's done Coffee Meets Bagel. She's done Hinge, Bumble, Tinder. And again, she's used LinkedIn. She says, dating apps have long been a very draining experience for me. But since I wasn't dating anyone offline, she got back online. In the past month, she's met 2 men from the apps. Her only physical requirement is height, because she's very tall. So that's why she cares about height. Wes says, what kind of LinkedIn user is going to respond to a date request? You never know. I mean, I think it's
I saw your professional. What's that email like? I saw your professional resume and thought, ooh, this is somebody I'd like to get to know better. I love where you went to college and I love your current job title. Let's hook up for coffee.
Well, maybe they're like, hey, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I think that we should connect. We have, we may be able to collaborate. I don't know. I'm sure there's code words that they can use.
Collaborate.
I would love to collaborate. Dating is hard though, Kim, but apparently LinkedIn, it's becoming a mixed use site. This, according to LinkedIn, people try to do everything from getting hired to sell insurance policies and gym memberships. Apparently, according to this woman, a friend had privately shared the LinkedIn profile of one of their connections and had asked if I would like to be set up on a blind date with him. This approach then sparked ideas about using LinkedIn as a dating app. So, let's see.
Champagne wishes. I saw your profile and I want to jump in your wallet.
There you go. Now, I love how all of you are like focusing on the money aspect of it. But again,
Ricky Aubert, want a job as my lover.
As my lover. But if you could find out so much about a person through LinkedIn, through their groups and things like that. So is it so wrong to want to use it in this way? Eric says, it's amazing how many women flat out say nobody under 5'10". I know. It's so... The thing that bothers me about women that are so focused on height is it's not just tall women. So apparently this woman is very, very tall. Now I understand if you're extremely tall, and I'm not going to say extremely, but if you're 6 feet tall as a woman, some people, want someone that they could look at least eyeball to eyeball. Okay. I don't think that that's too far of a stretch, but if you're under 5'10", why do you care about height so much? If a guy's 5'10" and you're 5'10", why does it matter? I don't understand it. Vanessa says, I'm 5'2". All I need is someone taller than me, which is any man who's not a little person. True. Same. I married someone that's short. I've dated men of various heights throughout my life, but I like short guys. I do. There's a lot of, if you want to go the celebrity route of like who that guy's a dreamboat in the celebrity, a lot of celebrity men are short. Or shorter, you know what I mean? Like, Randy says LinkedIn has explicitly said they're not a dating app. Yeah, they're not gonna kick people off though for using it in that way. Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's inventive and a great way to, identify the people you're interested in. But I agree with the viewer who said it's very shallow. But if you're looking for someone based on their professional profile, that means you're really looking at finance. And so
that's what you think. Yeah. Not just, ambition. Instead of just being focused on appearance, you want to know that the person has, a career, hopefully a bank account. Is that wrong? Do you want to just go on Hinge or Bumble and be approached by men that you don't even know if they have a good job?
I would argue that someone having a good job doesn't make them a good person.
True. That's true.
I don't want to date the CEO of whatever company if the guy's a total flaming a-hole, right?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to date an a-hole.
I would rather have a guy with a normal job who's not, who's making enough to exist and live and put a little away for savings. That's a nice person where, we click, that whatever. You can't tell if you are clicking with a person just because of their professional profile, because of where they went to college and what job they have. That means you're looking for someone who's rich. And it's a way of getting yourself a leg up by marrying a rich dude. And that's just, I don't know. That's
I hear what you're saying.
Not what I'm about.
But it could be on the opposite end of the spectrum too. What if you can't find out if a guy's a cheapskate? I know someone whose first husband was so cheap, and I'm going to use the word cheap and not frugal, would count the squares of toilet paper that she could use. Okay. So
that's control. That sounds like more control than it is cheap.
I mean, but it's really, what if somebody's lifestyle, professional and otherwise, doesn't match yours? Did you see the story of this Japanese man? He's 45 years old and he lives a minimalist lifestyle. He has for 20 years. So he's able to retire by the age of 50. Now that sounds like a pretty good idea, but this is the type of meal that he makes for himself that's going to make it so he can retire by the age of 50. He has committed to a diet composed primarily of rice and pickles so he can retire early.
Okay.
His frugal diet is often accompanied by wild vegetable juice and vitamins for essential nutrients. This diet has allowed him to set aside so far 93 million yen, which is approximately $652,000. Would you want to date a guy like that? A frugal guy?
I think there's okay. So that doesn't look like a bad meal.
Now, that actually looks pretty good, but every day?
Would I want it every single day of my life?
No.
There's something to be said for living.
Yes.
As you go through life, all these years that he's saving, that's great when you get to the end of it and you have this big nest egg, and that's lovely. And a lot of people are, especially from other cultures, are focused on survival, which is what, I completely understand it. And having that money and saving and surviving and making sure that you're going to be okay. But along the way, along the journey to get there is experiences and travel and, trying new things and eating different foods. And I guess I just think, what a sad life. What a way to just live a bland existence.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I understand the goal of retiring early, but then you'd have to maintain this.
Yeah.
I know, Kim, poor guy's hungry. Possibly, maybe he likes that. I do think the yellow thing out in front is an omelet. Yeah, I think Vicky's right. I think that's egg. Now, would you want to date somebody? There was this funny, I think I read it on Reddit or something. One of these like dating horror stories. And the woman's like, I went to some sort of a restaurant. And the guy's like, do you mind if, she went to like a show or something for tickets, and you had to buy a ticket, like a movie ticket or something. And the guy's like, do you mind paying for your own ticket? And she's like, yeah, no problem. And then he had a buy one, get one free coupon. So she basically paid for her ticket and he got his for free. That's saving money. What do we say about rich people, Kim? Rich people don't frivolously spend money. So would you want to date on the opposite end of the spectrum? I think that these are important things to consider. If you were going to date somebody. Do I want to have this meal plopped in front of me? Would you want to date like one of those insane coupon clippers, right? So according to this article, this Japanese guy's convenience store membership cards earned him points to redeem essential items like energy drinks, because that's essential apparently, bread, biscuits, eggs, cheese, milk, bean sprouts, tofu. So he's able to get that. He also receives free rice noodles, cooking oil, and instant noodles as perks from the listed companies that he invests in stock trading. By using the monthly meal coupon his company provides, he enjoys beef rice, grilled salmon, and croquettes. He has also had to let go of his relationships, including a potential marriage to his now ex-girlfriend. He maintains that he finds satisfaction in simplicity, and his financial choices are guided by his desire to break free from the constraints of a demanding job and embrace a life of leisure. I would say you've locked yourself into a different type of lifestyle that I'm not necessarily in full support of. Like, that's a bit much. Yeah, Harry says this lifestyle is pretty boring.
Yeah.
Is it going to get better when he retires, or is he forced to continue that lifestyle to stretch his retirement? Yep. Exactly. And I understand that things are expensive, but I sure as hell wouldn't want to live a lifestyle where that's put. And obviously he's let certain things go because he has an ex-girlfriend that he had a potential marriage with. So,
well, because who wants to live a rigid lifestyle like that, where this is what we're eating every single day?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
I mean, there are some people that think of food only as energy. Right?
Yes.
Like
I don't understand those people. Yeah.
I don't care what it tastes like. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. I care. Does it have enough protein and vitamins to get me where I need to be? It's it's gas to fill the tank.
I'm not that person.
It takes away it takes away
the
experience.
Food. Yeah.
The experience of different tastes, different trying different things. And I don't know. I just feel like life is too short. Why do you want to make it more boring and sad?
Exactly. I agree.
Little.
Now, I will say this. We do live in a very, many societies are gluttonous, right? And so you spend money on all kinds of crap you don't need to spend money on. I I was talking about the dress that my daughter wore to Taylor Swift, and we went to we went to Plato's Closet, which, it's a secondhand store. Thrift store. But they have really cute clothes. They have to be in style. They buy clothes off of people, gently used clothes. And we need to do more of that. One final story, kind of on this note. Oh, did I have the picture? So here, how many of you, as school is about to start, so right when I get off air, I'm taking my daughter to go get, a couple of new things for school to wear.
Yeah.
Now she's a growing kid, and I don't take my kids shopping often, but we're going to the mall, and I want to also visit some of these thrift stores because it's so much cheaper. Did you know that Cat and Jack, let me see if I have the picture. Do you know Cat and Jack? Did you ever buy Cat and Jack stuff? I think it's at Target.
It's the Target brand. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a Target brand. And I didn't know this because I don't think I've ever purchased necessarily a Cat and Jack jacket, but here's a picture of it. So here's a label. If you see it, it says Cat and Jack. This belongs to Explorer number 1, Explorer number 2, Explorer number 3. And it's to promote hand-me-downs.
Yep.
It's to promote reselling some of these clothes or giving them to other places.
That's great.
I think that it's important. Okay. How many, I don't know. Should I disclose this? Okay. So I don't know about your school, but kids leave stuff at school all the time. Right.
Yeah.
And so what our school would do, I don't know if I should. Oh, I don't care. So at my kids' school, it was at their elementary, not their middle or their high school. They'd have tons of jackets, and they would put them on carts in front of the school. Look for your kids' stuff all year long. It would be there, and they would make an announcement. They'd be like, "This is the last day. Either you grab the kids' stuff, or it's getting donated."
Mm-hmm.
I've gone shopping. I'd be like, "Okay, well, if no one's gonna grab it."
You've gone shopping at the Lost and Found rack? Nikki Medoro. What happens if the kid that lost it sees your kid wearing a coat?
I wait until they're right about to donate it. And then if nobody's going to get it, what's wrong with grabbing a jacket? There's really just one jacket I did this for. It was a nice, warm jacket. But anyways, is that awful?
I can't even believe you. I'm
really?
so surprised. Sorry. I had
You're really surprised that I would do that? Like, seriously?
I had a mom who rushed up to the car window at pickup one day and said, today's the day they're donating everything.
Yes.
And I said, oh, I guess got to make sure that none of your stuff is in there then. And she said, I've already been there. There's nothing good left. And as she goes shopping at the bin, and I was mortified. Like, this is you would take the things to be donated to the poor? Really?
Oh, stop. Oh, stop. You're so mean. See, Deidre is my kind of girl. I used to take stuff from Lost out of my kids' school, especially the uniform stuff with no names on it. So that's the funny story. So I got this one jacket. Do not judge me, mofos. Okay. I'm sorry. I did it. I admit it. But they had the name.
Oh, Nikki. No. No. It's the Lost and Found rack, not the Nikki Medoro. Would you like this today rack?
Oh, whatever. Fine. I don't feel
even
guilty
happening?
about it. It was years ago. It wasn't like a nice jacket, but it was warm. And I was like, look, it was totally my kid's style. I was like, look.
And then some kid is like, I used to have a Patagonia jacket exactly like that.
It wasn't like a Patagonia, but it was, I think it's like a fuzzy warm jacket. It was really kind of cute. Yeah. See, I'm sorry. Should I feel bad about that?
No shame in Nikki's game.
Yes, thank you. See, Lori, I've done that for students who tell me they don't have a warm coat or whatever stuff. It's been there for months. If it's been there forever and nobody's grabbing it, thank you. See, Kim, thank you guys. I was starting to feel bad.
I'm in the minority here. It's okay.
Yeah, John says I used to shop at Goodwill all the time. Stop doing it so much during COVID. I mean, we wash the clothes. And again, someone mentioned Crossroads. We went to Crossroads is another great thrift secondhand store. Moon Zoom, another one. They have cool vintage clothes. Plato's Closet. I like to go to places for my kids specifically because they buy back in style, like it's a current style. So the kids would actually want it. And they do have name brand things. What I will not buy secondhand, because I find it gross, is workout clothes. And I know that you can wash it, and I know kids and people sweat in their regular clothes, but there is something about like stretch pants and where it's like people don't wear underwear with like workout pants and things like. I'm not doing that. Like I just can't.
This is where Nikki's standard hits. This is the bar. We're like,
I don't want my hoo-ha next to somebody else's hoo-ha.
But
I'm not buying secondhand
I'm not
underwear.
wearing your sweaty, vaggy stretch pants. No, thank you.
It's not stealing, David. Stop it. I wait until the end. It's not like the first day it's out there. I am waiting. Whatever. Don't make me feel guilty. I don't, and I can't do it anymore. This was only in elementary school that happened. And and I'm not lying. I did it once. I did find my kid's jacket. I'll never forget it. My daughter had this jacket and I had just purchased it for her like 2 months before. And I was like, where is your jacket? And she's like, I don't know. Check the lost and found. And I could see it in the distance, just like hanging right there. So stop judging me, David. I'm not even going to play with you on this. Whatever. I'm not finding used underwear at Goodwill. No, thank you. No, I know.
That's the one thing I throw away.
Oh God, yeah. I don't know how people donate underwear. That's disgusting.
Kids' underwear. We have some nice underwear, like the Hannah Anderson underwear. That's really good quality, and it makes me sad to throw it out. But I'm not going to put it in the bag of donation stuff. No.
Who puts used underwear, and the donate? No, that goes in the trash or the recycling or wherever the hell you could do it. But you're not doing that. All right. Click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show, guys. We are going to keep our eye. We'll have an update. Kim will be following it all day. So go to Mark Thompson's show right after this. And of course, After Party Live will be following the tragic situation in Maui and Lahaina. And our hearts go out to everybody. The super chat is live. Let me give some quick thank yous to everybody that supported the show. Harry, $5 super sticker. Luis with the $20 donation in honor of the people in Maui. Roger, thank you so much for the $4 super sticker. And Wes, we love you. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. You guys can donate even during the replay. And please, please, please go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com. theNikkiMedoroShow.com, and please sign up to be a Medorable, a monthly Patreon subscriber. It's a one-time a month donation to keep this show right here where you love it in the mornings, starting at 9. So we will talk tomorrow. Please take care of each other. Go to Mark Thompson and the after party after this. Talk tomorrow. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.